there's a lot of new realtors, Karen, at our brokerage. We've substantially grown, not just by the acquisition of the Sutton in Etobicoke and Sutton in Burlington, but also just organically we've grown. Our company has grown phenomenally. So this is, I think, the first time that a lot of our new realtors are going to get introduced to you. Guys, literally, like, she is a beacon. She's a great person. She is extremely giving, and I would really latch on to every word she has to say, because this is how real estate should be done, with pride and joy, and a lot of her base referral base. Its work is all based on referrals. So I will give the floor to Karen. We've prepared some questions, which we will be going over. So our first question to Karen is that you are a second generation realtor. Um, Tell us about that experience. Your just kind of seeing your father in the industry, seeing the changes, how they happened. So share with us a little bit about that, Karen.
Thanks, Sabiha. Thanks for the kind words. My story's not that great, but anyway. And thanks for signing in on Remembrance Day. Special day for everybody.
That's true, yes.
So my story. So my father, around 52, 53, left his job and became a realtor. So he started with Kingsway National. It was Loretta Fitty, Michael Regan, and John McClure. And I actually dug up some old archives, like back in the day when he worked for, I think it's kind of old and whatnot. But
it has the years. Let's see that for a quick second. Oh my goodness. 87. So that's actually when Sutton Summit came to being as Sutton Summit as well. Hey, 1987.
Was it? No, well, maybe, because when we I'm jumping ahead here, but when we joined Brian McGuire and Jack Ellis's office, it was countrywide. Then it became Sutton. So Sutton must have started, and we were still countrywide before they decided to become a Sutton office.
And get the franchise. That's correct.
Exactly. So he was there for about 10 years, I guess, at Kingsway. And then all of a sudden in my 20s, I'm like, I'm going to become a realtor and work with my dad. So that's what I did. We actually accepted a spot at Remax, got a big flower arrangement and fruit arrangement delivered to the house, thanking us. And then we were like, I think we're going to go to countrywide instead, changed our minds.
Which year was this? 1987, you said?
So when I joined, it was 93. 1993.
93. Yeah.
And I was a wee young girl. way back. So yeah, in 93, we joined the office that we just left. So I've been there ever since. So the one on
Burnham. Yeah, that's where I joined 11 years ago.
Yeah, so, yeah. Actually, it's so funny. I have when I was doing my real estate license, Bill Macris and Vince Carnevale were in my classes in 1992. That's where we met. And then like I have this old thing from 1990. What year is this? 96, I think, where James Hodgson was there, and
Nina Boker. These are such archives. We should have these framed.
Rick Rominski. Who else is on here? Well, there's my dad and I up here.
Oh my God, these are lovely. I love this.
So I know we're the OGs, I guess.
Yeah. You know, and how the flip side works is Vince was the one I signed my contract with. So it's got Vince's signature as the broker manager. And then when he rejoined us, because he left us for a little bit and then he rejoined us, now I have my signatures on Vince's contract. It's a full circle. Yeah.
It is a full circle. Glad Vince is back. I bumped into him once, I think, in the office, but it's really nice to see him, and I don't know, all the old friends. Because when I went to the Oktoberfest party, I was looking around like, I don't know anyone.
Yeah, there are lots of new faces. That's right.
Newbies. So anyway, so I joined back in 93. It'll be 28 years. This 28, 29 years this now November, and it was great. I worked closely with my father every day, so I spent a lot of time with him. Taught me everything. He was a great mentor. I know everyone doesn't have that opportunity, but I was very young, and he was very supportive, and taught me a lot of things. Taught me to listen rather than speak. Taught me to be myself, to always think of the client first and what I can do to help them. And yeah, so we grew our business. We door knocked. We went to open houses. We would book agent inspections and drive around. There was always donuts, and on Friday nights when there was open houses, it was like wine and cheese. It was very social back then, very different than now, because you know we're not quite doing that anymore. But we had the dailies, which were these giant orange and white books, and that was how we found our listings. They were black and white, and you'd go through the Mississauga was W19, W20, W15, W16 was Erin Mills. And you'd go through them and you'd look through what was for sale. To think you had enough time to print a book, find a listing, book a showing. And nowadays, I mean, they're up and hopefully gone quickly. But yeah, that's how we did it. My dad would go into the office every day, go through all the dailies. Yeah, so that was back then. Now it's completely different.
These are really good points. You brought in mentorship, which is so important, and I keep telling realtors, come to the brokerage, set up a
Yeah.
coffee appointment with one of the realtors. And the big part of actually having these sessions is to introduce all the the valuable realtors that have actually accomplished something in the stride within the brokerage, to be introduced to newer realtors. Because guys, honestly, this is how this brokerage has always worked, right? We've always been there.
100%.
We're so lucky that we have so many of us that have been here for decades,
Right. And
right?
things
Still
wasn't
around.
all right. And it wasn't always easy. I had my ups and I had my downs. There was a time I actually thought, oh, I don't know if I'm going to renew my license. I was busy with the kids. My foot came off the pedal. I wasn't working very hard. I was kind of loafing. And I thought, oh, I don't know. And then I'll never forget Nina Boker. I bumped into her and she's like, Karen, just keep your license, even if you just want to sell your own home. And then boom, everything turned around. I started working again. The kids got a little older, and then I got busy again. So, I mean, there's no shame or pressure to put on yourself if you have not the greatest years, because they're going to come, they're going to go. But I mean, as long as you build your business, you can get to the point where you can just work with repeat clients. And, if you're in it long enough and you stick it out and you're true to yourself and you speak frankly to everybody and you're honest and transparent, they'll come back. They'll definitely come back. They'll remember the experience. They'll tell their friends. You'll get a call or a text, say, hey, Patricia's going to call you, heads up. And that's basically how it works.
So resilience is key, number one, and then hard work, treat it like a full-time job. Because like you say, if you just get caught up in other things, business automatically slows down, and then you get back on the saddle, and you're back in the game.
Have a plan and set
Yeah.
goals
So,
for sure.
so how many years was your father, Karen? Let's talk about what was his name. Let's go back to that.
John. Well, this was
Yeah.
us back in the day. Is that show up there? What does it say on there?
Lovely.
I know.
Look at you.
So yeah, we kept his license until 2016. So 33 years a realtor.
Wow. Right. And you talked about how different business was, and yourself, you've been in for 29 years. What would you say is the key difference between that time holding the fort, keeping your clients, versus in these times? Like, what would you say is the major changes that have occurred in the business and how we practice real estate?
I would say you have to promote yourself differently now. Are you still there? I see a phone number on my screen. Is that?
I can see you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe someone was calling me. I don't know. Anyway, today it's different, because back then it was very one-on-one. Long before DocuSign, which I was such a dinosaur, I fought it for so long. I like to be in front of the client. I like to shake their hand when they accept the offer and congratulate them. I like to do the negotiations face-to-face, which I still try and do if I can. But now that you have to be personal on a different level, because you're not always face-to-face with the client. So, you have to have enough of a background and a relationship with them while you're showing the properties and developing that relationship, that when you do get down to the nitty-gritty negotiations, they trust you. Because if they don't trust you, then you've got nothing. You can't convince them to accept an offer. They have to feel they've been educated enough that they are doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question I wanted to find out from you is what exactly do you do throughout the year to stay connected with your clients? Give us some points.
So there's no secret. There's no magical secret. Everyone will do it differently. But I send the Christmas cards to touch base with them on the birthday.
Hey, everybody take notes. Just saying.
And I started a new thing too, where on the anniversary of when they move into the property, they get a little something, a little reminder, because you never know when they're thinking of moving again. Some move very quickly. So, you should do at least six touches a year so they don't forget you, not one or two. And then I sometimes pop in, or I show up, or just give them a call. Calling, texting, how you doing? How's the house? Have you done any renos? Is the most important thing to do to keep in touch with them. We used to send out a monthly newsletter, and there always had to be something of value in that newsletter. So we would send out home show tickets. Now I guess you can get them when the home show opens again and just take them to your clients, hand them to them. But if you aren't offering something of value, then you kind of disappear for them. Again, CMAs, giving comparative market analysis, are a great way to touch base with people. So if you're door knocking, you can offer that, or you can put it on your business card so it's always speaking for you, because everybody wants to know, what's my house worth? What's my house worth? I'm not moving, but what's my house worth? And the market changes so much. It's a great way to touch base and give them an update on the value of their home. And people love that. Or if a house sells in their neighborhood or on their street, I always send it to them. Guess what? This one sold for 1.2, knowing they paid $925. Now that works great in a market like this. But I've been through markets where it's completely different, where the house sits on the market for 6 months, and then, it's not as easy to give them a feel good on the value of what was going on. But I think we're fine in that respect.
Do you ever do client events, Karen?
No, actually, no, I'm kind of lazy that way. I've never done a client event. I'll take them out for dinner, or sometimes have them over for a little barbecue, but I haven't done the large client event or the pumpkin patch or any of that kind of stuff.
Well, whatever works for you, right? So this is on one-on-one. So it seems like your business very much is circulating around one-on-one contact and reaching out, which is, just as good as any other, if not better, actually.
If I was new, I would 100% do all those things, because now we're competing with that. The staging that people are offering, and again, value, trying to solve your clients' problems. If their house is a mess, paint it, get the junk removal. It's overwhelming to move in a great situation. Sometimes they're not great situations where they're dissolving families or marriages. And again, you just have to make their life a little bit easier. And if that's helping find someone to get, I'll pack sometimes with my clients. I'll paint with them. Sometimes I do it all. My dad used to do the electrical. So, yeah.
Right.
Building those relationships.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, I'm just gonna mute a couple of people here. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, Karen, most of your business is coming from where do you think the big chunk of your business is coming from?
99% is repeat clients, because it's been 30 years now and they've moved a few times. So they just, I answer the phone and they say, hey, we want to move. So a lot of it is that. I also have a fellow that works for like a Manulife company that does investing. He sends me a huge chunk of clients, probably 3 or 4
referrals.
Referrals, yeah. He always gets such great feedback and how happy they are, and so Tim sends me a ton of clients, and then the rest are my existing clients moving again, and then right now I'm doing a lot of their children. my senior clients and their kids are 25 to 30 are all looking for their first time home. So I'm working with a lot of first time buyers, which is fun because they're so excited. Except it's so hard for them right now with all these multiple offers. They get down and out, but they persevere and get their house.
Yeah, but this is great. It's literally your relationship building that is coming to the next generation, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I got to get a realtor. One of my kids have to become a realtor because I can't just walk away. I got to give it to someone.
Of course, absolutely. So quick question about going back to where did you come from? What were you doing before you became a realtor?
Couple things. I worked for Metroland on Mavis, Mississauga News, owned by the Toronto Star, for right when I came out of college, selling advertising space. So always a salesperson, born to be a salesperson. And yeah, I did that for a long time, selling the half-page ads or the newspaper ads that we used to put in there with Countrywide. And I did that for a while. And then one of my clients, Premier Health and Fitness, oddly enough, the owner asked me to run one of his gyms, do a pre-sale in an opening for a new gym. I think it was in Burlington, and there's one at Dixie and Dundas. So I became the sales manager and had to sell the sizzle for the members, the gym, before it was built. That went well. He paid me well to do that. And then I got my real estate license.
So what I was coming to is that experience of yours, but because every time I meet with realtors, I'm like, don't think it's a clean slate. Just don't think it's a new profession, right? Everything that you've ever done needs to come on board.
100%.
Yes, absolutely.
100%.
Those are your experiences, and doesn't matter what you've done before, whether it's design or it's marketing or it's sales or it's whatever it may be, financial, it comes on board. So you do feel that obviously gave you that, you, that seasoning to go forward as a salesperson because you had that kind of experience prior to.
Yeah, and it's being able to talk to people. I mean, when my kids are young, we'd go out somewhere and I'd be talking to everybody and they'd be saying, Mom, why do you have to talk to everybody? Can we just go? But it's my nature, but it's also what you need to be in this field. You need to be able to speak to people and go out and be comfortable and say hi, and whether they're strangers or not, and strike up a conversation. Hand them your business card, hand them out everywhere.
So what do you think in terms of numbers, if you would be willing to share with us, are your annual sales numbers?
So obviously that fluctuates, but in the last four 6 years or so, I don't know, it's probably somewhere between 10 million, 15 million in sales a year. I would set a goal, I guess, to try and sell at least a home a month. Sometimes months will go by and then in a month I'll do 5 transactions and it's crazy busy. So
So my point being that you need to have a pipeline of business. Something might not happen today, but if you have things in the
100%.
pipeline and you stay on top of it and you stay connected to people, then at the end of the year you're able to meet your goals.
100%. And what you're working on right now might not happen till next summer, but every lease, every conversation, everything you do for someone is setting up your business. And if you aren't constantly setting up your business, it'll run dry. So.
Do you work from a formal CRM, or do you have some sort of a diary, or like how do you stay on top of staying connected with everyone? Do you have like a system that you're following?
So it's funny you say that because I used to work with the database that the office set up for us, and that's how we would drip on clients. We called it drip every couple of months, so they would get a soft touch from us. But we mailed that out for years, and then that newsletter, then we just kind of stopped doing it. I have my own database where I have all my clients' information in. So that's how I keep in touch with them, but it's not really a formal one. If I was starting from scratch, I would be set up on a really bougie, like some type of database to keep in touch and not let anyone drop through the cracks. Because I'm sure I have. I'm sure I've missed a few by not being as organized as I probably should be.
So it really works to stay on top of it, you know, and not wait for your business to grow to that level where it's really hard to manage at that point. So anybody starting fresh should look at it as, you know, this is one of the key
Absolutely.
most important things to keep the weight off your shoulders, sort of, is to work
Absolutely.
with a CRM.
And go to every social event that you get invited to. Never say no, because every time you go, you're meeting someone. I mean, I was doing swimming lessons with the kids once, and I was sitting in the auditorium room looking down at the pool, and this girl says to me, "Oh, we just flew in from Mexico. We're looking for a house." And I was like, "Oh, my ears went," and handed her my card. We've been friends now for 25 years. But I mean, every opportunity to meet people and talk to them is building your business.
Absolutely. Networking is key, right? If you're hiding in your PJs on your couch, it's
Yeah,
not going to happen.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
business
gonna
doesn't
happen.
come flying through the window.
Unless
Yeah,
the
you got
pizza
to be out there.
guy or the Uber driver. Yeah, exactly. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hustle and mingle, you know. Yeah, yeah. Um, I wanted to ask you, so share with us some memory of you know, throughout your last 29 years of where you've really you know, thinking back, is some story where you think that you've gone above and beyond in your
Oh,
service.
yeah. Oh my goodness. There's so many. I mean, every situation I feel I go above and beyond. And that just, even if it's the little things like, oh my God, I had a closing yesterday and I worked with Erwin from our office, and he's a lovely agent. Lovely, lovely man. Anyway, something happened with their fridge and I had to pick up the hose for them before closing and deliver it. But that's not quite it. I think last summer I had a transaction in Credit Mills, and the buyer was a realtor. And the day before it was supposed to go firm, the buyer slash realtor and her husband asked to meet me in the Walmart parking lot at Erin Mills Town Center. So I go over there thinking, oh, what's going on? And get there, they had bottled water for me, and they had this whole big speech where they felt they overpaid by $50,000, and the broker felt they overpaid, and all their agent friends that work in the office with them told them they overpaid. And I leaned against the car and I had my dad on my shoulder saying, "Don't speak. First person to speak loses." So I said nothing. And they went on and on. And when they went on and on and on, you could tell they were getting nervous because I wasn't saying anything. And then at the end of it, I just said to them, I said, "Well, you know, thanks for bringing me out here. But I said, I guess you're just not the right buyer for this house. My clients won't adjust the price." And I left. And then the next day, of course, the waiver came in and they firmed up. And while I'm listening, I'm thinking, I have to act on my seller's best interest. So what should I be doing here? And sometimes you can talk yourself out of a situation. So stay quiet, think, and listen. And the less you say usually works out better. And then I had another situation in 2016 where I had a listing in Toronto, and I had 13 offers on it, listed at $999. And I was doing this for this lady that was 90 something. They just put their mom in a nursing home, and we put it on the market, 13 offers. Top two were 1.3, around 1.3. And we brought the buyers in individually and said to them, "Are you pre-qualified? Are you sure you can go firm?" Both of them said yes. I let the seller pick the couple, young couple. And then don't we get a call a week before closing saying that they need an extension, they're having trouble getting their money overseas. So I'm thinking, okay, what can I do to support my seller, and am I acting in the best interest for them? So I think I called the lawyer. I think I called Corman's and came up with a clause that said, "We will give you the extension if you release your $60,000 deposit. No questions asked. Just let it go," because people think you can keep deposits, but it's not that easy. And they signed it. They signed the amendment saying that. So we felt, and I could tell my seller, if they're willing to sign that they're going to release the $60,000 next Friday, if they can't close, they're probably going to close. We're pretty confident. And either way, you get the $60,000. Worst case scenario, we have to resell it. So a week goes by, and the day before closing, they're like, "Yep, can't close." And I was like, oh my God. So now I have to be the bad guy, but business is business. And the agent was calling me saying, "Karen, she's pregnant. You can't keep their deposit." And I was like, sorry, you put my clients in a pickle. They lost when they had all the multiple offers, they lost that opportunity. You took that away from them. you put them in a deal fell through situation right now, we're keeping the deposit. So anyway, long story short, kept the 60,000. And then I went through all the 13 people that had offers. I was one of them. I had an offer myself, and ended up I went down, ended up selling it myself. So I ended up double ending it. They still got over 1.3, and they got to keep 60,000.
Wow.
So that was good for them and good for me. But yeah, I had an older couple once where they just couldn't pack. So I got my kids, we went over there and we got boxes and tissue paper. We packed up all their Royal Daltons and all their teacups and boxed it all up and labeled it all for them and wrote on the box every little knickknack that was in there. And I've got 3 referrals from them. So yeah, it's again, I mean, you think you just have to do a good job to get a referral, but you really need to do a little bit something special,
Extra.
I think.
Yeah. 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 And each one of us has our own unique selling proposition, right? So this is the form that you've built your business on and your referral business on, and it has a lot of value. What you brought up as a comment was that this is a business where you're helping out people when they're going through their toughest times in their lives, right? Either it's a baby being born, or a demise, or a divorce, or a marriage, or look at the value of the property. Even if it's an investor, it's minimum $500,000 on the line that someone's committing to. So it's really important for us to have that heart and have that soul. And like you have said a couple of times, as your father said, listen before you speak, which is so important, because if we're on our stride and we're just going for whatever, we're looking at the dollar amount and we're rushing people through, that's not going to be a relationship of longevity, right? They really need to feel that you have taken care of them, and you can't take care of them. You can't meet and exceed expectations unless you know what that they are. And if you've not listened to what it is absolutely none of that going to happen ever, right? Because then you're taking care of yourself, not the other person.
Exactly. And
So this
speak
was
frankly.
absolutely, yeah, yeah,
Because sometimes people will just say anything to get the listing, but I think it's really important that you're not doing them any favors if you're going to tell them it's going to go for 1.7 and it's only going to sell for 1.5. You have to be frank. You have to give them the solid concrete education so that they know what they're going to get and won't be disappointed.
absolutely. And you seem to be doing more business, less investors and more homes for people. So I think this is extremely important. Whoever's building their business on that platform, this is an extremely important attitude to have towards running your business. If you're comfortable with it, I'm just going to open forum for people to ask some questions if they have them. So, guys, you can unmute, and whoever wants to ask Karen a question may go ahead and do so at this point.
Hey, Karen. Hi, this is Jay here. Nice to hear your story, and just wanted to understand, like, in terms of advertising, or in terms of promotion activities. Like, did you do anything of that sort, like where you paid for advertising in the newspaper? Like, how did you plan that out?
So great question. And if I was talking to myself like 30 years ago, I would continue it. So I used to do that. I used to put ads in the newspaper promoting myself. I would print out flyers and I would door knock. And on the flyer, every flyer had a value on it saying, we'll give you a free CMA, which gave you another reason to go back and talk to them. A lot of people do the social media, the videos, the Instagram. I don't do that anymore. But if you're asking, if I was starting fresh, 100% promote yourself, because nobody else is going to do it. And you got to shout out. You can't be a secret agent. So let everybody know what you're doing. Have something of value. Always have something of value. I don't care if it's a free coffee you offer or something, but people like to get something from you.
Yep. Thanks.
Anyone else? Karen, I'm going to ask a quick question. And I know you've kind of talked about it already, but So why do you think you're so successful in getting referrals? If you can self-observe yourself for a second, you have a really great business that you've built up around referrals. What is the key factor that's making people come to you and refer their family and friends to you?
The experience. I know it sounds like cliche, but it is. I think it's the experience. It's the getting, putting yourself in their shoes, understanding what their problems or their hiccups are, and solving them for them. So whether it's, like I said before, getting someone into paint or purging their property, because a lot of people want to sell, but they see their home through the love of their home ownership, and of course they think their home's perfect, but we as realtors know what will sell faster and get them more money. Speaking frankly, telling them what we need to do. Again, you'll get clients that don't want to do anything. They'll listen and then they'll say, yeah, I'm just gonna ride the market and put it on the way it is, and that's fine too. But as long as you're, again, upfront and explain everything to them, there won't be any miscommunication. As long as there's clarity, everybody's happy. Keep track of all your conversations and all your documentations, and be organized, be prepared, know your market, and be yourself. Be kind, because people like kind people. That's what I find. Like last night I was saying to my kids, I said, why am I good at my job? And my kids like, because you do everything for them. you go out there, you like, I don't know. But anyway, I love my clients and I love working with people that I've worked with before, because it's warm and fuzzy. Rather than a random that calls you from realtor.ca, there's no relationship built with someone like that. And it is a little different, because I know as I'm showing them properties, I can tell them this is a great deal, but they aren't going to believe me just because I am who I am. They're going to need to see it themselves. Lose a property, look for another one comparable, keep looking for properties, try another offer, lose another property. If they're a new client, it takes a lot longer, I find, to get from A to B, because the trust isn't there yet and they haven't had an experience with me.
Mm-hmm.
So we just have to go through the process. And I know that, so I have to realize that and step back and let them stumble through the process themselves, really.
I like that you brought in kindness. And I would like to add to that is I felt this even when you're working with the other realtor. I have found that, this business, people think that if you're harsh and you're rude and you're quick
Right.
with it, that's negotiation. Actually, it's not. It's the opposite of. And,
100%.
culturally, yeah, your
100%.
hands, your client's future is in the hands of the listing agent if you're putting in an
100%.
offer.
If you're in a
And
multiple situation, make a relationship with that listing agent. Like text them, hey, it's me again. I know your day's coming up. Anything you want to tell me? Don't be afraid to say my clients love the property, and
yeah,
become a friend with that listing agent. Because if it's down to you and one other agent, or if you're really close, they'll give you a wink and a nudge and kind of help you along the way. But
oh,
100% make
absolutely.
relationships with the listing agent.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, a practice that I always do is if my client has any interest in the house, doesn't matter whether the offer presentation is tomorrow, day after, a week from then, I leave the property. And like you said, I, congratulate them on their beautiful
Yeah.
listing. And I tell them my client is very interested. Please keep us in the loop. So you set that tone of appreciation and thanking them, because we all have been in those houses where you're like, I don't want to walk into this house, and I definitely don't want to take my shoes off. So
100%.
anybody who's
Yeah.
put in an effort, because we all have been on the other side. We've been listing agents, and this has not been easy to get this listing to begin with. And the struggle of making the client understand these are personal pictures, they're beautiful,
Right.
put them away, all of that. So, but if you come from that speed and then you stay in touch, you're really doing your clients a huge big favor, by making a friend of the listing agent, not standing against.
100%.
We're deal makers, right? So we have to come from
100%.
that point of view.
And
Yeah,
that listing agent you might not get that property, but you might bump into him 6 months down the road. And then it's another warm and
absolutely.
fuzzy, and it makes a huge difference. Like, start each day with kindness, because it'll pay off. It just does. If you could just remember the one rule, listen,
Yeah.
and be kind, and always think, how can I help my client? If that's always in the back of your mind, then you just stick it out, and it's gonna serve you well.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's how you'll stay in business, 30 years later and still smiling about it.
I think that's right. Yes,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah, because your clients will love you, and that's key. When you walk away from a deal with making people happy, that's the best feeling that all of us can walk away
It
with.
is, and that's when you should get your testimonials from them, because that's when they're definitely their happiest and they're most excited. And sometimes I'm on the phone all night long with people texting me, I'm just so excited, I can't believe it's our home. And Dave's like, my husband, he's like, why are you still on the phone? Because I'm still building relationships. I'm still working with them. Just because the deal's over, they're just so excited and they want to shout it out. And I was on that path with them. So the relationship between me and the buyers or sellers is develops very strongly when you're working with them. You become their best friend. And it's kind of weird, because they'll say to me when it's all over and I'm out of their life, it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss you. Like, where'd you go? But I can't obviously hang out with them all the time. But they remember that. They remember the experience, good or bad. I mean, they I don't know. The relationship gets built, the trust is there, and it will serve you well in the future for sure.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much, Karen. And if nobody has any more questions, we will log out. But I really appreciate you taking the time out and joining us on Remembrance
Pleasure.
Day. This is a day that's close to all of our hearts, and uh, you know, um, so let's all kind of do whatever we have to. If we have grandparents or parents and we want to go spend some time with them, then by all means. But thank you so much, Karen, for taking the time for us.
Thank you for having me on here. That was fun.
It was lovely. Okay, bye bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.